Everyone, and welcome to our session. I'm so excited to be here on day 3 of Ignite. I hope everyone's enjoying the wonderful snowstorm we're having right now and the time to be here together to discuss how do you unlock productivity with AI and Power Apps. I'll be joined by my colleague, 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 in a bit as well. We'll be talking you through kind of intelligent apps and how they work. But to kick things off, I think it's really worth grounding in this idea of how AI reshapes how we work. For those of you who attended some of the other Power Platform Intelligent App sessions, like Evan and Leon's yesterday or Ryan's before that, some of these slides might look a little bit familiar to you. We're going to be focusing a bit more on the concepts, on our specific roadmap and timeline, and how you can help empower your organizations to take advantage of AI to increase productivity. And so really, when we talk about this, we're going to be talking about how AI revolutionizes business processes, and how you can use Power Apps to be a part of that revolution, and what you need to do to help your organizations be prepared for this change that AI is going to bring to how business processes are done. So we'll also have a bunch of roadmap slides with that, cover that as well. And so one thing that people often forget with all the hype around AI is that it is just another tool, another technology that has come and is disrupting the way that we work, that has happened time and time again in industries across the board. And so for me, my favorite example of another example where technology changed the way that we work is in farming. And so looking at food, right? And so agriculture has seen some massive transformations in how we work and had a lot of lessons there that we can learn and apply to how we bring AI into our business processes. So to simplify that transformation a little bit, let's look all the way back when we had manual farmers helping look at crops and gather food, right? And so for this process, it was very much restricted by how much a single farmer could manually handle in terms of land size. And as a result of that, they had relatively small yields, crop yields, per farmer. But with the Industrial Revolution, we saw a transformation, a productivity revolution, where mechanical assistants like combine harvesters and tractors enabled these farmers to both manage significantly larger plots of land, but also get significantly more crops per farmer because of that mechanical assistance. And then now, looking at today, we see this kind of growth in autonomous agriculture, where a single farmer can manage and oversee and orchestrate a bunch of autonomous combine harvesters and waterers and planters and feeders, and then harvest significantly more land and get significantly more crop yields. And so this exponential growth in crop yields per farmer is analogous to what we want to see with how AI will revolutionize productivity for individual workers and business outcomes. We expect AI to fundamentally change the outputs and the amount of outputs, the amount of revenue, for example, that any single worker can create through the power of Copilot and AI and agents. And so we can actually look at this example of autonomous farming and see how that applies to AI in our businesses as well, where you have a farmer getting intelligent assistance through that tablet with autonomous farmer vehicles helping them do that work. We can translate that to a single business user will work with Copilot and Copilot's assistants and collaborate with Copilot as a reasoning engine and as a thought leader across departments and across events, to work with these agents and orchestrate and oversee with these agents that are autonomously handling tasks on their behalf. And so we expect every single business application in your organizations to become intelligent, where it can work with you and on your behalf to complete the tasks and processes you have to do to have the output you desire as an employee. And so really our focus at the start, and the next section we'll look at, for this change, we're not going to go instantly to autonomous farming, right? We're going to figure out how we see the biggest productivity speed bumps today and how Power Apps can help your organization move past these speed bumps and use AI to do so. And so we've really focused on how do we take AI and bring it in line to the specific parts of your business processes where we're seeing these productivity speed bumps. And so things like how often are your employees going into reforms and retyping the same information from Excel or some other source into the business app? How often are you trying to find the exact fields and information they need to do their job? How often are they stuck pulling out their hair trying to figure out where that specific email lived to pull that into their CRM or ERP solution, right? And so we're trying to figure out how we take those repetitive and manual tasks and leverage AI to make them much easier. And so these intelligent applications help employees work faster, work smarter, and work happier. And so the reality is that we're not going to, of course, get there in a single shot. And so we're going to do this incrementally together and approach that together. And so I'm happy to pass it off to 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗃, who will come walk through some of our investments in this space and our approach to make AI available to all of you and your business users.
Thank you, Anthony. Hi, everybody. So you're going to see a theme throughout this session and throughout this conference, and that's going to be this progression from the routine stuff we do today to insights, to assistance, to full automation. And I couldn't miss the opportunity to have my mom dig up an old photo of me, because we wanted to use a more current, many of us probably aren't working on farms, but we are all most likely driving on the roads we use every day. And so a car and the automotive transformation there is a really good analogy for what we're going to see in business apps. So this was my first car, which was actually framed and hung up in embarrassing locations throughout my childhood, and I'm still a fan of tucking in my belt, as I could see. And so this was my very first car, my 1998 Camaro Z28 V8 5.7 liter. Great car for its time. It had things like power windows. It had a subwoofer that I installed so I could really feel the third eye blind as I was cruising around the streets of Detroit, Michigan. And it also had cruise control, which was kind of the pinnacle of automation at the time. It would let me take my foot off the pedal. And I also carried around a puka shell necklace all the time, which automated the end of my fashion career and led me to speaking in front of you today. So how do we go from no automation to level 5 automation in the automotive industry? Well, you might start with level 1 insights. Some of us have cars today. Even my Mazda has things like this, which are just lane departure warnings, some insights that let you know you're veering off course, and a beep kind of lets you know that you should pay more attention and keep your hands on the wheel. Once we get to level 2 assistance, we start to get things like adaptive cruise control, where it'll keep me paced with the car in front of me, or even lane assistance, where it actually does steer the car in the lane for you. And of course, at level 3, which we see in many vehicles today, are automation in some scenarios. Like, for example, many cars can drive on freeways, in particular, probably not out in the Chicago snow right now, but get there in certain conditions. And all of these are just incremental steps on this way to fully autonomous self-driving. So now let's apply this to the business applications that we have today. And we're taking the exact same approach to incrementally get there. And in this session, once we get to the code demos, you'll see all of this spectrum covered in full that you can start to take advantage today. So some of the level 1 insights you'll see in business apps are all about these insights. AI-based summaries of records, AI-based catching up on things that's changed. And sometimes you'll start to see these next best actions guiding you into taking some action. Once we get into level 2 assistance, it's a little more hands-on. We'll help you fill out forms and marshal data between these systems. You're still in control, and you still have to accept these suggestions, but it's a little more hands-on than just presenting you information. And then what you'll see towards the end is our first step towards automating some of these processes, going beyond just suggesting an action and actually walking you through and executing it autonomously behind the scenes. And I want to make clear that this isn't just architecture and some metaphor we're using here. This actually is the architecture of intelligent apps, intelligent power apps today. It starts at this experience layer, and they're all attached to out-of-the-box agents right now that are focused on specific things. A data entry agent attached to the form will help you instantly create and just kind of marshal this data between systems and copy and paste things that was very routine before. The data entry agent will help you, the data exploration agent will help you navigate grids and data that you have a hard time kind of getting through without being an advanced data scientist. And all of these agents will be extended and customized through the Microsoft Copilot Studio. So zooming in a little bit, on the grid that you'll see in just a few minutes, the data exploration agent empowers users to, the data exploration agent empowers users to use that words that you and I might use every day. You'll see how my boss actually asked me to pull up some data, and I'm able to just literally take the words he used into the app, and the data exploration agent takes what I need and executes it on my behalf. On the forms, you'll start to see the data entry agent, which will help me marshal the data between these systems. And it's such a super painful concept that we do today, right? How often are we retyping information? How often are fields that people want to close the form so they only fill in the required data, leave the optional ones blank, which means the quality of our data in our systems is rather poor, if it even exists at all. And that becomes increasingly important in this age of AI, because as we've all learned, that the quality and quantity of data in our systems is going to power the insights that we're going to see. So getting the data in there is going to be very important, and Data Entry Agent is going to really help empower people across all skill levels to do that. And lastly, these insight cards. So catching up and parsing information can take a lot of time. Some of these forms are incredibly dense. They're designed for multiple roles and personas that may not be relevant to your job function at all. So with the Insight Agent, we can highlight and draw attention to the most important things to you. We're starting with summaries that'll be available soon, and we can use that information to provide the maker to customize which fields are most important. So we'll have a out-of-the-box experience as we get through some of these things, but we want to make sure that the maker is always in control of narrowing and focusing that down for your end users. Lastly, we'll see next best action agents, which are helping you parse and figure out which things might need your attention and guide you to that next action. So all that said, let me switch over to my machine, and we will start walking through what this looks like. Oh, and I have to do that, of course. Number 4. Wrong one. Sorry, everybody. Forgot to click through these. There we go. OK, so Anthony and I are actual product managers at Microsoft. And product managers, as you're probably aware, are responsible for the end-to-end conception and delivery of software that drives business value for Microsoft, but also for all of you, our customers. And that requires a lot of coordination between functions. It requires collaborating with marketing, with legal, handling all the compliance stuff, and of course, with our engineering counterparts. All of these groups, of course, have their own systems, their own way of storing things, their own ways of communicating and marshal that back and forth. So we wanted to make sure that we can accept that reality and accept that a lot of times humans are exchanging this information back and forth. So we use this Power App internally today. This is an actual app that we use to track all of the features that we have in progress. We can track when they're going to be disclosed at certain events. As you can imagine, it's managing all sorts of sensitive information. And of course, getting the data into the system here. So here I've got my colleague Adrian emailing me about a new top secret project kicking off aimed at end users that we need to track. It's urgent, and the disclosure event will be billed. So pretty typical email with random stuff in here. And I can go over to my Power App. I can click New. If I unselect that. And I'm presented with a very common Power App form, model-driven form. And some of the fields in here have actually already been suggested for me. Because I've been repeatedly doing a lot of this stuff, we're able to analyze which fields you've been populating frequently, what tedious, repetitious things you start to do, and we can auto-suggest some of these things. So for example, it's suggesting the personas end users. A lot of what we do is focused at end users, saving me from click that. And you'll notice that the form fill bar at the top is actually suggesting a few suggestions for me, 4 in this case. So as I mouse over them and I click accept, you'll see the counter count down. There's 3 left. I can just see, yes, is this disclosure event Ignite? In this case, it's not, so I'm going to leave that one. And what I'll do to fill out the rest of this is just copy this text right here. Come over here. I can hit this Smart Paste button, or you can see Control-V, the shortcut we use all the time. And Smart Paste will analyze that clipboard data and fill out some of the fields for me. So I can hover over that, here's the clipboard data I just pasted in. It's just random free-form text. It got the feature name, in this case is Top Secret Project. That's great. The business value isn't quite what I wanted, and the description isn't quite what I wanted, but I'm getting a little closer. It did figure out the disclosure event is build. That is what I want. So I could see it's just making it so I'm not retyping. I have no risk of accidentally typoing something along the way, but I'm still in control of accepting the values. Now, there is a spec for the super secret feature, which I have here in Word, and you can see the details here about the problem space, the business value, the description of the feature, and some relevant links. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this entire Word document, and I'll once again hit Control V here. I could also upload a file from my local system if I wanted, but in this case, it was easy enough. I had it open. I can click Paste. And this is a much more complicated document. There's headers, there's images, there's all sorts of things going on here. And this form was able to now figure out a much more realistic business value statement there. I really like that. I've got the description. I can see that. And I like actually all of these fields that it suggested. It does know that this is urgent. The feature team is right. As I scroll through this briefly, I can see it figured out a lot of this information. And I'm able to accept all 13 of these suggestions, which is saving me a ton of time. There's a few left, though, that I need to fill in, and that's these dates, the target date, start date, code completion date. I don't see it in the spec. That's not where we usually keep stuff like that, since, as you can imagine, the roadmap's changing all the time. Where that, in this case, happened to be, because Adrian likes to make me work, he sent the roadmap from a screenshot of our roadmap slide. So this here is an image, so it's showing the various dates here, which was easy for him and kind of annoying for me, because now I've got this image, and what can I do with it? Thanks to Form Fill and Data Entry Agent, I can just copy this image right here, once again paste. It will analyze the contents of this image and fill in these dates for me, the target date, start date, code complete date, and test date. Really nice for me to have. Thank you. So now that I've saved that, we've got Super Secret Project tracked. We look forward to seeing you all at Ignite, where we can finally unveil it. And next, I'm going to move on to a next item in my inbox as a product manager, which is a status update. So my manager is actually sitting in the front row today and saying, hey, marketing, Ignite is now, and we need to know what's landing, what can we ship, what's going on the blog post, all sorts of things. So can we provide an update to them, let you know as soon as possible? This is where the data exploration agent becomes really nice. So previously, I can go to my grid, I could click on Edit Filters, and I could add filters if you're familiar with this rather tedious and click-heavy experience. Could do all that. It would still work. If you're familiar with it, that's amazing. But now I can search in my own words, and I can just say projects at risk or blocked, and hit Enter. And now the data exploration agent is converting my language into those robust filters for me. And now I can see these are at risk or blocked. Now, this particular email asked about Ignite, so I can append this and just say project at risk or blocked at Ignite. And in this case, it's actually figuring out that I mean disclosed in Ignite. So you can see it's really learning about my intention, learning about my context, and getting me just the right information that I need. Now, I see one of these items is blocked. And plenty of things come in at risk. Many of us are probably software developers. We understand the realities of shipping software. Risk is part of what we manage. But blocked is usually not very good. So I'm going to drill into this AI record summaries feature, which shows blocked. Again, a lot of fields in here. If I'm a power user of this app, I may know a lot of these fields. But something that's really nice that we've introduced to these forms is an insight agent. And what you're seeing collapsed at the top here is a Copilot summary of this record. And so I can see expanded AI record summaries. Users access this to access important information easily. The latest ETA is 12th with the disclosure at Ignite. Primary contact is Anthony, which is telling me some information. I can see that it's facing challenges doing compliance and resulting in running hot. But I need to figure out, is this really blocked? Will it be at Ignite, or what can we do? So what I'd like to do is switch over to Anthony. He is off stage. He's been chatting with our compliance folks. And I need to say, hey, Anthony, what is the latest with AI summary? And it actually, because I'm extremely efficient, I can copy this summary, paste it to him so he has the full context. And now Anthony will figure out. You have to come up here and answer because your laptop is locked. So you actually do have to come up here and let me know. This is we're doing this live, everybody. So your machine locked. Anthony needs to reply and tell me the status.
Got that for you real quick.
Yeah, thank you for letting me know. So Anthony said, you can see we had to button up a few compliance tasks, but we're on track now. Here's the revised timelines for a summary agent. So this is very typical. How often are we just, again, chatting with colleagues via Teams? Maybe I crossed them in the hall. Maybe I called them up on stage. Either way, he replied to me that this is tracked. Now, a lot of cases, this information just lives in Teams. It never actually gets back into the system that we work with every day because it's tedious and no one really wants to do that. So watch how amazing this gets with Data Entry Agent. So the first thing I can do is just paste right here. Again, I selected just this text that Anthony sent me, exactly as he typed it. There's some really neat stuff in here. If I zoom in just a bit. Oh, my zoomer died. You can see it says code complete date is November 15th. The test date is 2 weeks later with a target date of December 16th. Again, very much how we typically speak, right? We don't always speak in dates. We say 2 weeks later. I'm going to hit Control V and paste this in. And the target date, the code complete date, and the test date were exactly as described. So not only is it helping me create new records, but it's also helping me update records and make sure the data is always good. Which is fine. OK, those are some date fields. But now, how many of you, especially those that work with, say, in the sales world or any kind of world where getting communication activity logged in the system is incredibly tedious? We have, like many forms, a subgrid here for status updates. And you can see the last one was posted a little bit ago. It becomes very easy for me to say new project update. If you're familiar with the quick form experience right here, quick create, again, I could go in this. This functionality has been around for a long time, but no one feels like they want to do it because it's incredibly tedious. So even in this quick create, I'll just Control V that same exact text, and now I've got notes that they buttoned up compliance task. It's updated now to on track, et cetera, logged, and feels like we're in the system as we need it. Perfect. So now what I want to do is update this summary. It wasn't very obvious to me, glancing at that summary, that this project was really off track. So what I'm going to do is show you how me, as a maker in this case, as a power user, can update this summary to make it more obvious for the rest of my colleagues. So every form, which is attached to a table, has a set of properties to it. There's forms, views, charts, dashboards. Here's the data you're looking at. These are all the features. And now under the customization section, we can customize the row summary for this given table. And you can see, obviously, we had one applied. You saw that. And so this builds what's known as a prompt builder experience, where I can describe exactly how this table should be summarized. So it says, summarize the current project in a way that's easy to understand for project leadership. Make sure to include all important information, ideas, et cetera. And I can actually define it as long or as terse as I choose. So I could say, create 2 paragraphs with the first sentence via this. And what's really neat in this experience is I can type / and actually bind to data from this project. So here's all the fields in that table. And I can not only describe the prompt I want, but access the data. And so I'm going to do just that. I'm going to pull up a pre-canned version so you don't have to see me type all of this. And I'm going to modify this prompt where only if the latest status, and so here I'll show you how that / command works. So I type / project, and I go to latest status. Only if the latest status contains blocked, then start the response with feature blocked contact primary contact for latest. And I'll do the same thing. Type PR / and I will type primary contact. In bold, and end it with a new line. Make sure the primary contact's name is hyperlink and markdown. Again, I'm just describing in natural language, a prompt that many makers, many of us can do ourselves. I'll hit apply to all forms. And when we go back, we should have a very prominent alert on this summary letting me know when a feature is blocked, really drawing my attention to it, which benefits everybody. So it says the summary has been applied to all forms. If I head back here and click refresh, And perfect. Now I see a nice big emoji that says feature is blocked. Contact Anthony Ewitz for the latest. So I want to spend just a few minutes. So you just saw summaries on custom tables. This works on any tables you might be building today, but it also works great on the inbox tables, the account table, contact, opportunity, lead, any of these tables that you may be using, you can start applying these summaries here. And so here's an example of just one that we've put on account. And again, summarizing this record, the annual revenue, primary contact, et cetera, all this nice stuff. And it's that same exact experience. So the maker part of this, again, I'm just at my table management. I'm looking at the account, and I can click on that row summary that's been applied. And this is, again, just another example of a prompt that we typed up very quickly, and it just describes the information that you care about. You choose which fields you care about and which you want to draw attention to. The last piece of assistance I'll show, again, when we're looking at accounts, are many of us work with dates. And dates can be annoying to work with. I, for some reason, struggle with year math all the time and calculating certain things or knowing when the end of a quarter is. So what we'll bring soon to the intelligent date picker, to the date picker control, is the ability to use natural language here. So I can see the renewal for this particular account is on the June 15th. Maybe I just got off the phone with Blue Yonder Airlines and decided to extend the renewal to the end of Q1 2026, for example. So I can clear that out and just say end of Q1 2026. I tab out of it, and it will automatically figure out when the heck the end of Q1 is. Many people probably know intuitively, but I struggle with it, and thanks to Copilot, now I can just exactly set that date exactly how I wanted it. So I said I wanted all of you to have a call to action at the end of this. So all of these features are available either now or coming soon, and we'll show you how to enable all of them. But as you go into your Power Platform Admin Center, a handful of the features are there right now, and a couple of them will be coming out in the coming weeks. So with that, I will switch back to slides and summarize. So like I mentioned, on grids today, you will be able to use this right now. You can go into Power Platform Admin Center, find the setting Natural Language Grid and View Search, and select Enable this feature for all users immediately. We'll also link, if you don't get screenshots or photos of all this, we'll have a link to our blog post at the end of the session, but you can find information on this right now. For the data entry agent, you'll see a section which already exists called the AI Form Fill Assistance. You can enable that feature, and you'll get the most recently used predictions that exist today. And soon, in the next coming weeks, you'll see Enable Smart Paste with the preview. And that'll give you the full clipboard supporting PDFs, Word documents, text, images, in creation, in editing, in Quick Create, all sorts of experiences helping you make sure the data in your system starts to get better and better. You'll also see the summary agent coming soon, towards the end of the year, but around December. And that'll be under an AI Insight Cards section where you can AI generate record summaries. The last thing I'll leave you with is I alluded to this concept of next best action agents, and I want to give you an example of what this means. It might be kind of an abstract concept. So our friends in Dynamics 365 Sales, which are all built on Power Apps, has a session, which you can watch. It's already passed, but it's online, BRK173. And they unveil their vision for a sales qualification agent that's helping sellers identify the opportunities and the leads that they should focus on and nudging them into this experience. So I'm going to roll this video and then welcome Anthony back on stage.
You spend hours on manual tasks like researching leads and writing personalized emails. That's precious time that could be spent closing deals. Say hello to Sales Qualification Agent, your new AI agent that helps you prioritize leads and drive better business outcomes. Let's see how it works with Dynamics 365 Sales. The agent autonomously researches leads in your pipeline 24/7. It analyzes multiple data sources and flags the hottest prospects for you. With just one click, you can learn why a particular lead is prioritized based on research data synthesized from CRM records, third-party data, and public web sources. When you're ready to reach out, the agent has already drafted a personalized email. A quick review, a couple edits, and you're ready to hit send. And just like that, you're ready to move on to the next prioritized lead. With the Sales Qualification Agent, you'll never miss a beat. More meetings, more deals, more wins.
How awesome is that, right? I hope you guys are really excited about the stuff we just talked about, that kind of level 1 insights that helps your workers do stuff faster, the assistance to kind of do things like automate manual data entry and finding the right data for you. These are all kind of out-of-box agents we're bringing to help make these tasks way faster, to remove those productivity speed bumps. But some of your business processes may include things that are custom tasks, that are bespoke to how you and your organization handle certain business workflows. And for that, we want to help make it even easier to automate away some of those mundane tasks while keeping the person in control of that process and helping oversee the agent we'll create to automate that. And so we'll talk a little bit about how we're going to create and generate for you AI agents to handle these tasks. Now you can go into applications that you've already built to kind of do those tasks and oversee those agents to manage them to make sure they're doing that job correctly. And so we'll kind of bring together these custom agents. And so the way it works is very aligned to this idea we talked about at the very start of this. We have a person working with Copilot, and Matt just showed you the different ways you can work with Copilot to orchestrate these agents to fill out data, to find data, and so on. And with these agents, you'll have to help customize those tasks. And so like I mentioned, it may be better to visualize it this way, where really you have these agents doing a lot of that work for you, and you as the person, as the business user, go from having to do all those tasks to having an agent do them all for you, with you stepping in when you need to help coach it, to help manage it, and so on to make sure it's successful, keeping you always in the loop. And so what we've built, what I'm excited to announce, is this ability to take an existing application, to take all of the user interface, to take all of the business logic, to take all of the data connections, and figure out how we translate that for a specific workflow into an autonomous agent that has the instructions, the action, and the knowledge it needs to help you do that task autonomously. And so a bit more specifically, you might think of an existing app having a very simple form like this, with a couple bits of input, and we take those input and say, hey, agent, you need to get this information or create this information. And they'll have a button to submit that form that will say, hey, agent, here's an action you can do. Here's how you go patch a record to Dataverse, for example, or do any kind of action that you can do in your application. So I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what that looks like. So we'll just jump over. And so you can see here my message with Matt, where I told him about that update. So if we go into Power Apps, we have a whole bunch of existing solutions and apps already built. And this may be true for many of you as well, where you have these applications already built. And so rather than starting from scratch, we help bootstrap that automation process by letting you create an agent from an application. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm not seeing, let me refresh. I think we had a data connection issue between the time I was sitting up here with my computer locking. Let's try that one more time. And so you can see this new option in the menu to create an agent from an application. So we're going ahead and click that. And so once again, we're analyzing all of the screens in that application. We're analyzing the data connections, the forms, the UI, the buttons, what the buttons do, and helping kind of figure out what do we think you can automate in this process. And so in this case, I want to automate away that thing that we just saw earlier, that back and forth with Matt and my colleagues to figure out what's the current state of all the projects. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then once again, we take that input, what you want to automate, and once again, look at the application and figure out what are the step-by-step processes I have to take to create this. And as always, you are fully in control. You can go ahead and edit any part of this description, any part of that as you so choose. And so if I go ahead and click Create, this takes a couple of minutes, as we have to analyze your application, extract all the actions, figure out the instructions. So we're going to jump ahead to the post-oven cooking show here of what the agent actually looks like. And so you can see that we actually did that. We've added in these instructions that tell you how to go update that based off of that update form. We have knowledge here, including the wiki that describes how to go do this. And we have some actions as well that help you kind of the agent do those tasks. And we've also added this new thing that's new to Copilot Studio called triggers. And so rather than having this agent only activate when I talk to it in a chat-based experience or in an app interface, it can run autonomously based off of events. So I can say, hey, every time you get a new email in the shared inbox, go ahead and respond. So if someone says, hey, product management agent, how do I update my record? You can go tell it how to do that. And you can update it every week to go ahead and ping all those product owners to get the latest updates for them in that regard. And so there's a couple of things that are worth noting here that we want to talk about as an important part. So one is that as a maker, you go from having to craft app UI, which you still have to do, of course, but also into curating this knowledge. Right? You have to help make sure the agent understands what it needs to do. And so, for example, I've added, or there aren't here anymore, but you could add things like glossary and synonyms to help AI understand certain things. So when I say projects or features, it knows they're the same thing, for example. You can bring your domain-specific knowledge into the agent. There's also actions and how you curate what these actions do. And so you have to give all of those prompts and instructions for how it goes and does that. And so there's a lot of new AI skills that become increasingly important to solution makers to make it possible to curate the knowledge, to write the instructions for these agents, and for any AI feature to be successful, like what Matt showed with that prompt builder earlier for the record summary. And so let's go ahead and jump into the oversight piece. So we can assume for a second that that agent's been hard at work automating away a lot of these project updates. You can see a couple of different pieces that we've added. So one is this ability to see directly in line that there's an ask from the agent to help oversee a certain part. And so the agent is saying, hey, I was trying to do this, but couldn't do it quite right. Can you go help me jump in? And the second thing that we can see is this big list of agent activity with all the stuff the agent's been up to, so we can see exactly what it's been doing. And so we can see all the previous sessions, how many records it's modified, how many requests for review it has, and so on. And we can jump into any of those sessions and understand exactly what it's doing. And so in this case, it's asking me to go work with it to go help update the ETA for a specific event. And I can go ahead and do that and mark it as complete. And so we're enabling you to use your existing business applications not only to create agents to automate certain processes, but also to help with that transformation we were talking about, where people go from just doing tasks to overseeing and helping orchestrate agents doing those tasks on your behalf as well. This will be a big shift in what people are using applications for today. Let's go ahead and jump back to the slides. So there's a couple of key concepts and things we showed. So one is that ability to generate agents from applications, which will be rolling out into public preview on December 13th. So that ability to create an agent from an app is coming soon. And the next is these agent oversight experiences in applications, so you can always keep a human in the loop, which will be coming in December to early access as well. So we're super excited to get those coming through. And so this third piece is this idea that we just talked about having to extend and curate and customize knowledge and instructions and actions for those agents. We're making this even easier to do. So all of those great things you saw from Matt, the data entry agent, the data exploration agent, and all those pieces, you'll want to customize those. You want to extend those. You want to teach those agents your domain-specific knowledge. You want to give them new actions. And so we're enabling people to customize AI features, to customize the Copilot behind their applications on December 16th by showing you that Copilot, and then you go directly into Copilot Studio to edit its knowledge and actions and instructions that you can then access through things like chat and so on. And so we'll make it even easier for you as solution makers and developers to take the AI we've put in out of box and make it tailored to exactly what you want to do, to fine-tune it, to ground it in exactly how you want your businesses to operate. And so the very last part of this presentation talks about how do we take all these things you just saw, that really high-level idea of this productivity revolution, and then those specific features, AI features we saw in intelligent applications, and how do you help prepare your organizations for this opportunity? How do you help lead this transformation for your organizations and your businesses? And so there's really three main things we need to kind of internalize, I think, together. One is this idea that as a solution maker, you go from building flows and apps and UI and pieces like that to helping agents do those tasks. You need to extend those AI features with knowledge and actions. The second is that your business users need to get used to working with Copilot and to managing agents and kind of using the tools we'll provide to make that easier to build those AI habits to get those gains, to make your business users more productive. And the last thing is that the way you think about your app ecosystem has to shift in light of how AI transforms the way that we work. And so for that first piece for AI makers, it's really important, I think, and Microsoft has a huge focus on how do we help you learn the AI skills you need to curate knowledge, to write instructions, to build prompts, to do all the pieces you need to help build really fine-tuned, really successful, really high-quality AI features. And so there's a bunch of content on MS Learn, a bunch of programs that we're running at Microsoft to help make this possible. The second piece is this idea of what changes for business users. You go from that farmer who was kind of manually taking care of the land to managing and being a manager of a bunch of AI agents working on your behalf and working with Copilot, collaborating with this thought partner to go do that. And so we've done this great research around what helps people build AI habits at work and how that improves their productivity. And we've come up with this new 11 by 11 rule, this turning point, where if you have a user who can save 11 minutes a day for 11 weeks in a row, they can build that AI habit. And so that is the tipping point that we see with AI usage, where if you can help make sure your users are finding these easy wins, they can copy, paste in data to their forms and save 11 minutes doing so, they can find the data they need 11 minutes faster a day, you can use that to encourage them to stick through with AI and then get all the productivity gains that we see through things like Copilot and agents. So this would be a really important part of the transformation, is that change management of helping business users build and develop these AI habits. And the last piece is the change to the app ecosystem. And so for many of you, you're familiar with having these little point-in-time legacy systems that you have to go build that helps you solve specific business problems for specific departments. For example, maybe you worked with HR and helped them build a new system to keep track of interview feedback, or with IT to make a new system to help you distribute and assign devices, or any of the other kind of little solutions we see. And so we found that all of these different point solutions lead to high cost and high maintenance time spent by departments. The average company, corporate department, is paying for at least eight different SaaS apps, and they maintain at least 7 different on-prem workloads of legacy software. And so with AI coming through, it's really important to start moving those legacy solutions, start moving that disparate SaaS application platform companies have and shifting them into the Power Platform as we provide this unified organizational system that brings AI and infuses AI into every part of this. And so you're going to see Dataverse and Power Apps and Power Automate and Copilot Studio and all these different pieces pulled together to pull this together. And because AI thrives, the more context you have to move past these data silos. You have to move onto a unified platform, right? Because you want to make sure that your customer service agent is aware of what's going on in the sales department, and your sales lead qualification agent knows what's going on in the customer service world. And so moving past these data silos is critical for these cross-departmental autonomous agents to be successful. And so it's really, really important, and what we offer with Power Platform is this ability to build exactly what you need on a fully managed platform. Power Platform comes with governance. It's secure, it's manageable, and so you can enable people, your business users, to build out these solutions and these agents and work with Copilot while still being fully in control. You can build exactly what you need on that fully managed platform. And so we think that Power Apps is the best way to be a part of this transformation, to unlock productivity with AI. And so we're excited to be on this journey with you all. I'm looking forward to all of the great feedback. You can see all the things we announced on our blog. This is the short link and the QR code that announces all of these great features we just talked about. And thank you so much for attending this presentation and session.